Hi, I'm Kayla. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to have a chatty catch up, talk about the books I've been reading this week, and we're also going to talk about my journal ecosystem because I feel like all the other girls are talking about their journals. I want to talk about my journal. So anyways, let's get into it. Okay, so a couple of things. I have been really busy with the current work contract I'm working on. It's one of the longer, it's short term, but it's one of the longer term roles I've had in a bit, and it has been all consuming, and it's really good. They're just, any new position comes with its pressures. Okay. If you hear screaming, it's happy screams. It's always happy screams. It's usually happy screams. But anyway, I think the hardest part of being back to work for me has been leaving my cozy safe space, which I don't do very often or haven't done very often in years. And so really, I think that's the major adjustment that I've been making. And it's been a time, but obviously grateful to be working on this contract. It is a really cool company, and it's in the energy sector, which I've worked in before and done things for before. Even as recently as like a few months ago, I did a small turnaround project for an energy company. So all that is to say, it's fine, it's going great, and it's short term-ish, and so we'll see what I'll be up to next. But anyway, I just wanted to chat with you guys and give some bookish updates and just like let myself have this space to be bookish and only bookish for a day. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is what I've been reading. So because I am working 4 days a week out of the house, I have read quite a few things. I finished Can't Get Enough. I can't remember if I updated you guys on that last time or not, and so I'm just gonna say that I finished Can't Get Enough, and it was a good time. I am trying to think of my preference for this trilogy, and I just don't know if I have one. I think that if I were to pick, I might say This Could Be Us would be my favorite because of just all of these books have so much representation of like varying kinds, and there's just something about that makes it really hard to choose one, because to some degree you can feel seen in any one of them. And so yeah, it's really hard to pick, but I've genuinely loved reading the trilogy. I'm so glad that I gave Kennedy Ryan another chance, and so that's that. And then books that I've been reading this week. I think you guys know that I have read, I'm trying to find, I'm on Everend. Okay, here we go. So I think you guys know that I recently read, I think The Selection comes first. I can't find it, but I read The Selection, and then there was The Elite, and then after The Elite came, I read The Heir, The One, and The Crown this week because I was in my feelings and I missed my reading space, and so that's what I did. That's what I did this week. I also listened to quite a few podcasts, and I started reading a few other books. There's one book I'm reading on audio right now. Everything You Want Is on the Other Side of Hard. And so for background, there is like a health and wellness podcast that I listen to called The Model Health Show, and it's all about like being intentional with your body, and it's fun, it's scientific, like it's definitely something that's up my alley in terms of like holistic health and wellness. And this guy, Ken Rideout, he was a guest on there, and he's like an ultra marathoner, just really into finding ways to keep himself moving, running really, and he has this background with substance abuse, and so he talks about how, to some degree he traded one obsession for the other, but this health and wellness obsession, this, how can I compete and be better and faster and stronger and all that has had a positive benefit on his health, and has allowed him to be just like the best partner and the best dad and the best version of himself for himself as well. And I just really respect everything that he talked about on that podcast. And so I decided to listen to his book, and it's a really interesting memoir. I also noticed that I like running memoir specifically. Like there was the one, what I talk about when I talk about running. I think that was my first introduction to them, and maybe it's because I was listening to writers talk about process at the time, and trying to figure out how to, like, as a writer myself, figure out how to process outside of my body, or sorry, process outside of my brain, and get past like the block of where you feel like you can't turn it on and can't be productive in a writing space. And it's like, well, yeah, go and do something else, and, you know, kind of give yourself the space to let it come to you. Anyway, so I really got into like memoirs about figuring out your body. I don't know why. It's just one of my little fixations at the moment, which happens. But yeah, what else did I do? So I did bring books to work every day, but it was really impossible to, this is like a stuffed animal that my dad got me a while ago. It might not work. So, all right, there are other books that I had been reading, and I brought them to work with the intention of reading them, and just never had the chance to do it because it's just been a lot in a great way. So I left this at work every day, hoping that I would just read it the next day. It just never happened, but I am still plugging away at this. This is the Sojourner Truth biography by Larry G. Murphy, and I am really excited to continue reading it because I would very much like to write something about it. Sojourner Truth has always been really inspirational to me, and so if I can find a way to better understand her like genesis and better understand where she was coming from, I think that would be a really good thing for me. And so I am still engaged, and I'm hoping to continue reading that some more, maybe today. I also have been taking with me Intermezzo, and we have a cafeteria at my work, and so I kind of just went down to the cafeteria. I was able to get like 15 pages into it. When I'm reading it, I'm so engaged and into it, but I just don't find myself coming back to it very often right now. And I think that of everything I've read Sally Rooney, this one has been the hardest for me to break into. Typically like page 2, 3, I'm like in there, and this one's been a little bit more difficult, but I really do think I'm going to enjoy it because when I'm reading it, I do really love the reading experience. It's just about picking it up for me. What else is going on? Oh, I want to do a try a chapter, and I'll probably film this today, but it won't go out today. I've been talking about this for a minute, but I want to do a try a chapter for the Wolf, the Priory of the Orange Tree, and the Name of the Wind. And I think I'm like I tried reading this one a little bit. I'm like 2 pages in, and so it's definitely early enough for me to do a try a chapter. And so I think that I'd like to see about doing that today, maybe going to the library, just like seeing how I feel. But yeah, that's something that I'd like to do because I really want to get into a fantasy. I have another one that I could add to it, like maybe I could add From Blood and Ash, but I kind of want like something a little bit more slow paced right now, which is why I'm thinking of these 3. And yeah, so that's kind of what I've been doing. And now I want to talk to you guys about my journals. So I've showed you a couple of my journals before, but I thought it would be fun to look at all of them. I've always had a lot of journals, but I never really thought about it. Like I never really was like, I have a journal ecosystem and whatever. Like it's never been like that for me. I have always just had journals that I've used, and I've always carried around like 15 of them. And if you can't see, but like there's a section of my shelf over here, and if you can, and it's about this thick with journals that most of them have been started. There's like tons and tons of like, it's called A5, like unfinished, finished, like A5 inserts, like little skinny ones. I didn't know they were inserts when I was getting them. I liked them for poetry. I felt like they were the most convenient, and so that's just what I used. Now I know. So you can see, like, I've always kind of been into journals. I just never have gotten down with the ecosystem thing because I didn't really understand journal inserts. I will say that I'm really excited about journal inserts because I hate spiral notebooks, like, with a passion, and this allows me to have kind of a spiral effect and customize what I'm carrying with me without having like a spiral, which I just don't like. It just doesn't work for me. So I think the first one I'll go through is I'll show you this is like my wallet. So this is like a little tiny one that I carry with me everywhere. I was making my dad one of these because he always carries around this like pocket-sized notebook, and I wanted him to have a place to have multiple thoughts, but you know, in one space. And so I made one for him, and this one was like a bit more defective, and so I kept it for me. And then you can just see like the holes are a little uneven, but that's not something that I care about. I'm really so happy with how it's molded to the notebooks inside, and it now closes so easily, like it's not being forced to be closed. I knew nothing about how any of this stuff worked, and so just to see like you can lay it flat and it closes really nicely, it just makes me happy. But in here I carry around I had a couple things going in here. I carry around my passport. I have a couple of little notes here. Some of them are just notes to me. Some of them are just like little pictures I found. Like this is a picture of my husband and my little humans. I don't know what we're doing at the park, I guess. And then I keep like little pieces of paper that I might want to use, receipts, like things that are special that I might want to use like while I'm journaling. Here is just like random stuff. I think there's a gift card in here to Barnes, which I really need. Is that a gift card to Sephora? You guys, I need a new lip liner. Stop it. Okay, and then in here I have a calendar, and I love this. I use this pretty religiously. It's perfect for me. Let me show you kind of how it looks. I'll give you like a blank page, but it's just like I think it's just like the Traveler's Weeks. I think that's what it is, but it's perfect for me. And this is what I use to keep the day there. This is like a little notebook for Portuguese things I want to remember. So like I speak Portuguese and I am losing some of my fluency, and so I keep this notebook with me so that I can retain more, and like, you know, I don't know, just I want to have a place that I'm only taking notes in Portuguese so that I can practice my reading and writing. And then this last one is literally just a notes app. Let me see if you can see it. It's like a notes app and doodles and other junk. And so it's like a tiny junk journal, and I have that there because when I have things in my notes app, I don't go back to it, and I forget that it was there. And this also is like everything will go in here. Like if I'm having a grocery list, well, this is my wallet as well, and so I just take my grocery list and whatever to the store with me. And I don't know, it's just better for me to be like tactile and grounded, and this really helps. And then I have this plastic insert with just like bank stuff, my IDs in the back. Yeah, and then I've got a pen, and I only used for like 10 years this pen. This is like a Pentel Energel 0.5, and then 2 years ago I discovered this 0.4, and so I started, oops, hang on, I gotta go get the bread. One second. I'm back. As a quick aside, one of the things that happens when you work out of the house 4 days a week, when you haven't worked out of the house for like 4 years, is you can only bake bread on Saturdays. I proof it on Friday. I feed it on Thursdays. I work from home on Fridays, and so I proof it that day. And then on Saturdays, I bake. And then I'll have bread for the week. I bake 2 loaves, and that's what I do. But anyway, this is my wallet. I take it everywhere with me. I love it so much. It helps me stay organized. It helps me have a place to dump my thoughts if I really need to do that. And like on the go. And it's just, I take it everywhere with me because I feel like I need to. So I do. So that's that. And I made this one, which I'm really proud of. So I guess I'm gonna go in size order and I'll show you one that I did not make. And that is this guy. This is a Traveler's notebook from Traveler's Company, and I did not make it because it's from Traveler's Company. And it's a little overstuffed right now because I'm keeping my media notebook and my work notebook in here as well, because this is a good system for me to have with me during the day at work, and it allows me to just take a couple of things on the go. And so in this one, I have a couple of pens. I have this fountain pen, and I'll talk about that in a second. I love it. It's my pride and joy right now. But my first notebook, I have this like cardboard insert that covers, I think, a couple of my notebooks. Let me see. Oh, it's just around one of them. So it covers my poetry notebook, and yeah, that's just a place for my poetry. My husband sometimes writes me notes and puts them in my lunchbox, and so I keep some of those close by. And then what's in this pocket? That's just another note for my husband. And then this is my little commonplace journal, which I will say journal culture did inspire me to get this one, but it made so much sense because I did have notebooks dedicated to just quotes I liked and poems I wanted to write down, because writing things down is how I commit things to memory best. And so I love that I have this place to do that. And I have this little, I'm working on my little opening page, but this little thing I pasted was in a bullet journal, like a reading journal. And what I did was I decided to take it and write on the books everything I wanted to like learn or endeavor to do for myself. And so like on there I have self-care, self-compassion, and I have some other things I want to do as well. And then this page is my little legend. So you can see I have like 6 or 7 colors, and I drew a flower and kind of cut it out a little bit. And these are all of the things I'll be putting in there. And then on this page, I have started writing, I wrote Obad, which is one of my favorite poems by Patrick Phillips. And then I stuck in there for myself, like I literally just taped in there a little note about why I loved that poem. And then I started writing in Hammond B3 Organ Cistern by, who's it by? Gabrielle Calcresi. And I guess I can also show you, this is written with my lovely, delightful fountain pen. And my fountain pen is a TWSBI 580 with an extra fine nib. And I'm using, let me show you the ink. Ugh. I'm using this Sailor Shikiori Sugata ink. I'm gonna just put it close because I don't know what I'm saying. And I like it a lot. Before I was using that, I just got like a cheap ink to just see how I felt about fountain pen in general. So I had the Diamine Asa Blue, and I can show you what that looks like too. This is not what this video was supposed to be, but I don't know, I just really like it. But anyway, it doesn't matter. That's my commonplace. That's my commonplace. And then I have a bigger version of the junk journal that I have in my wallet. I have that here. And this is more geared towards media planning. It's junk, but it's like really more media planning and just random thoughts I'm having that are of a more creative nature. And sometimes if I don't have a place to actually journal, and I'll get into why my journal doesn't come with me to work, but since I don't have a place to do that when I'm out and about, I have a place where I can quickly jot down some thoughts that I can expand on later in my journal if I have time. And so that's what this place is. I also tested my midliner markers when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to use for my commonplace. What else do we have here? I think that's really it. Oh, and I have like a list here that I'm keeping for myself. I have some parchment paper where I'm keeping some stickers. You guys should try if you need a place to put stickers and you don't want like to buy a sticker page or whatever. I would just use parchment paper. It's so easy. Okay. And then this next journal is, oh, I should say, my commonplace is in Tomoe River paper notebook. Like the paper is made of Tomoe River paper because of like my fountain pen. This is a similar notebook. It's a grid, but this one is not Tomoe River paper, and this one is my work notebook. And so I have like everything in here related to my work that I'm doing right now. And what I want to do long term is have a notebook, but in like my more long term role that I go into after this one ends at the end of the summer, I want to have a place. I want to make an A4 for myself, and then I want to buy paper from like Paper Republic, and I want to use the A4 as like my planner and my work notebook, and like that would mainly stay at work is my thought. But I do like to see things really big, and it helps me grasp things better when I can see it space in between and just see everything at once. And so I think an A4 would be perfect for me for work. Okay, and then the reason why this journal is so chunky, that's just a gem that my kid gave me, asked me to keep it in here so that it could be safe. I don't know. So this is my media journal. It's an A5. Tell me if I'm saying that right. I don't know. I've always just bought this size notebook. Like I said, this tends to be the size I use for my poetry, but I had it and I was already using it for my media journal before I had bought myself this traveler's notebook. So this is where the media is going to live until I'm finished with it. And I kind of just do it as a journal style. And so it's not very decorated. I just have like the date and what I'm reading, and I kind of go from there. And I do have, like I did start, I believe, halfway through. Like I think I'm reading 2 books. And so like one half is dedicated to the first and one is to the second. I tend to take notes like in specific sections more than just like taking copious notes the whole way through. And so I imagine I'll be able to fit 3 or 4 books worth of notes in here, and then I'll be able to transfer them over to a longer form space where I can do my actual reviews, which by the way, I have not done yet this year. So yeah, so that's my media journal. And then back here, I have this note. I don't know what that note is. And then this is just like a little tiny knife for, I don't know, crafting needs. I like to draw and stuff, and hang on. Okay, I was just saying that I'm kind of artsy, and so I tend to need random things like this at random times. It just happens like that. Before I get into my single journal, which I'm trying to make sure I have all of them, I just want to, there it is. Okay, I just want to show you my last journal that is my last, like, what am I trying to say? Like my last notebook that has a bunch of little journals in it. That's what I'm trying to say. So that is this guy. And I think this one especially is my pride and joy. It's not perfect, but it's the first one that I made. And this was a project that me and my husband kind of just did together. There's one in there that I just want to, it's not normally in there. But so this is what it looks like. I've got some little sparkly bits, got a sunflower, got my initials. I also have my kids' initials in there. And I have this pen, which is, I've been trying new pens this year, and honestly, it's just the funniest thing because, like I said, I used the same pen for 10 years. Like I was like, I'm not changing pens. Like it was weird. And now I have this pen. And I really like this pen in this notebook because it's simple, and no matter what paper I'm using, well, it's all It's all moleskin paper, but this pen just feels really nice on there. It feels as nice as my Pentel, and so I wanted to give it a try. It's running out of ink now, so we'll see if I replace it or if I go back to my old ways. I also just like how slim it is, I think. It's super slim, and so I feel like it just looks nice here. But in this journal, I have a couple of things. I have like these little inserts. I have like a plasticky one. That's a tooth. My kid's tooth just fell out yesterday, and the tooth fairy came, you know, and I had to put it somewhere because I don't know. That's just what I had at the moment when I was taking his tooth and leaving his note. So these are just some things from Valentine's Day that my husband and my dad and my kids got me, and I want to use them to do like a little spread at some point, and so I kept them in there so that I could do that. This notebook is my journal right now. I really prefer moleskins. Actually, I wonder if I think it's in my bedroom, but the color that I had for last year was like a turquoisey sea foam kind of color. And I liked it, it worked well for me, but I had too many things going on in that notebook, and so this one I've decided will only be a journal and nothing else, and that's working for me so far. This is something else that I want to save. This is when my husband took me to get some stationery from my favorite stationery store in Houston. Anyways, and I have a little note for myself to be opened when the year is over. I have like just random, like it's just notes to myself. And then, and I don't think I really do anything cute in here. It's mostly just like a journal. Like I've got like, oh, I went to Artorama, which is like a art supply store, to get some stuff for me and my kids, and so like that's a journal. This is my therapy, so any therapy notes while I'm in a session go in here. This one is supposed to be a place to keep track of my health symptoms because I deal with a couple chronic illnesses, and this is supposed to be just like a place where I write down my symptoms, how I'm feeling, what I'm eating, especially because that greatly impacts how I'm feeling at a given time. And so that's what that notebook is for. And then this is fun. So this notebook, it lives here now. This is like what? This is only 3 notebooks in here really. Sometimes 4 if I just know I'm gonna be like going somewhere to journal, and then I'll take this with me as well, because this is where like my long form journaling really happens. And so sometimes I'll toss this in there, but this lives there too. So this is a shared journal with me and my husband. And so like since I went back to work and I'm away from like my people all the time, it's just, you know, can be a little bit of there's a transition period that's happening. And so we made this journal to share our thoughts, like, and so like I'll keep it during the week and I'll update it here and there, and then at the weekend he has it and he updates it, and then I can take it with me again during the week. And so it's just like a place to share our thoughts and whatever we want. So like I have some of my favorite poems or song lyrics in here. I also include a prompt and for us to answer, and I answer it, and then I give it to him, and then he answers it, and he asks me something, and so on and so forth. Hold please. No more interruptions. But yeah, so we're using this notebook to update each other on the goings on while we're each away, and sometimes we'll draw things in there, and yeah. Yeah, so that's that one, and that's a new one, and because of the size I'm just keeping it in here to like keep it safe. Okay, So now individual notebooks. I have one that is in my kitchen and it's a recipe book. I have like little recipe cards that are in a really cute container in my kitchen, but sometimes if I want to make something and I want to bring it with me, like I want to make something somewhere else, it's just nice to have a journal that has some of my recipes that I like to make in it. So that's in there. I also have a workout journal so that I can keep track of the kinds of things I'm doing regularly. I leave that in my gym bag, which lives in the car. And then I have these guys. This one is an old bullet journal because I used to be really into bullet journaling, and it's pretty much empty. And so I want to repurpose it and use it like in the same way that I have a traveling journal with my husband. I want to have them with my sisters. There are 4 of us, and I just think it would be fun for each of us to take turns, like by, you know, on a weekly basis, keeping it, since we all live in like the same we live within proximity to each other right now. So I thought it would be fun. So that's not going to live with me full time. And then I have this one, which if you knew what if you have any idea of what I was into just a few months ago, I was like hyper fixated on cult memoirs, like survivor memoirs from cults, and I listened to a couple of cult podcasts, like Trust Me and Life After MLM and things like that. And I'm kind of writing about my own experiences in cult culture through just people who were really close to me, not necessarily my personal experience. There's some overlap, but that's this notebook, and it usually stays in here just because this notebook doesn't often leave the house and I'm not often writing in this space, and so it typically lives here, but it's not like, that's crazy, that's it like lives here, but it doesn't have to, like it's flexible. And then my last little journal is a sketchbook, and I don't really necessarily show like what I sketch and things, but that's this. And so if I know that I want to do something, or if I want to paint or whatever it is I want to do, I can just take that with me. And I also have in here my pencils. I have like a regular Ticonderoga. I have this Graph Gear 500, and then I have an eraser, some lead, and that is kind of what I leave on here. This is like my pencil case at the moment. Yeah, so those are all of my journal. That's everything I take with me when I am journaling. I mean, I don't take everything with me. The ones that leave the house really are just these 2. I consider this like my everyday carry, and then I consider this my wallet, and so they both come with me. This only comes with me if I'm gonna be like in nature and I know I'm gonna want to draw, and then this guy only comes with me if I know I'm having like a full-on journal date, like a journal time. And my husband and I have done that a couple of times. It's been fun. I've done it on my own. It's a great little solo date, and I think that's it. I'm starting to get into fountain pens a bit more, and so if you guys know favorite inks that you want to like share with me, let me know. I am super new to fountain pens, although like I've been told for years that I should have had them, and I probably should have, because it just makes everything just makes so much more sense now. But I think that's it. So thanks for hanging out with me for this really chatty, long journal ecosystem catch up thing. Thanks for being here, and I will see you in the next one.